Good morning and welcome back to more fresh, maple smelling quarantine content. It's Saturday morning, I'm in my jammies, and we are going to make some stupid healthy pancakes. So this recipe I made because I wanted to eat pancakes all year round, and not just as a treat but as an actual breakfast alternative, while also maintaining at least some bit of healthiness to them. So these pancakes don't contain any added sugar. There's a little bit of salt, but there's no added oils to the actual recipe. But I do use oil for my frying process, as I use a cast iron skillet, and I also lather my pancakes with maple syrup, so that can't be helped. But if you want to keep this even healthier, then don't do those things. Use a non-stick skillet. Don't lather your pancakes in maple syrup. I don't know what you're doing with your life if that's the case, but you do you. So this is my actual breakfast, and I have spent all morning getting this ready. So without further ado, we're gonna get right into this. The equipment you will need for this recipe is very simple. You need a bowl, a spatula, a frying pan, a flippy spatula for the frying pan, some way to scoop your pancakes, and a measuring cup for your milk. For our basic recipe, you will need 1 cup of whole wheat flour, or you can use a gluten-free flour if you'd like, 1/2 cup of oats, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and if you're sticking with the basic recipe, a tablespoon of cinnamon. For your wet ingredients, you will need 1.25 cup of a milk alternative, a 1/2 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, a 1/3 cup of applesauce, or a 1/3 cup of pumpkin or 1 banana mashed, 1 tablespoon of vanilla. Now that's just for the basic recipe. A little bit later we can go over some flavor combinations that you can look into using for your pancakes. There's dozens of different things that you can do with pancakes, and that is, I think, what makes them so wonderful. So the first thing we are going to start off with is going to be curdling our milk, and that is going to create a fluffier consistency as the apple cider vinegar reacts with the baking powder. So in our measuring cup, add 1 cup and a little bit of a quarter. I just fill my measuring cup pretty much right to the top. And then your 1/2 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Give that a little whisk and set it aside while we get our dry ingredients ready. In the bowl, add your flour, your oats, baking powder, salt, chia seeds, ground flax, and I'm also adding 2 tablespoons of pumpkin seeds, just for the extra little bit of vitamins, and I like the crunchiness. And your spices. Now if you want to keep it simple, just add a tablespoon of cinnamon. That's plenty of spice. But I am going to be a little bit fancier here and add 2 teaspoons of pumpkin spice mix, as well as about a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. I feel like cloves are just like a hug, but from the inside out. Give that a good mix until it's well combined, and then we'll add our wet ingredients straight to the bowl. So my milk is still curdling, so I'm going to give that an extra couple of minutes, and while I wait, I'm going to get our pan ready. I like to turn on the pan quite early and allow it to come to the right temperature, which is around 350 degrees if you are able to actually measure that or have an electric skillet, which I would much prefer doing this on than a cast iron skillet because the results are far more consistent. So I'm going to just turn on the pan. I'm not going to add any earth balance yet, onto low, or mine is a 2 setting is usually the perfect temperature, and allow that to just heat up the entire pan before adding my earth balance, which will at this point just burn if you add it too early. Now that it's been about 5 minutes since I began curdling my milk, I am going to now add the wet ingredients to my dry ingredients. So you can create a little well in the bowl if you'd like. Just start with your milk and start folding it in very gently. You don't really want to overmix any pancake batter, even this one. So now I'm going to fold in my applesauce, but this would be where you would add in your either banana or pumpkin or whatever you're using. Keep in mind, if you are mashing a banana, it is a good idea to mash the banana outside of the bowl and then add it to your mix. If you would like to not use banana, pumpkin, or applesauce in this recipe, which all add a natural sweetness, if that is not available to you for any reason, just turn your flax seed that you've added to your mix into flax eggs instead by putting them in a separate bowl and adding 6 tablespoons of hot water and give that a mix and let it just set, because you are going to want to replace the moisture that you are losing from not adding the fruit. And then one of the best parts is we get to add our extracts. Now this is where you can get even more creative. I'm going to use my two favorites, my caramel extract and my butter vanilla extract. If you're using pumpkin or pumpkin spice, caramel extract really complements and brings out those, like the nutmeg and cinnamon and clove flavors, and butter vanilla extract is just fantastic, and if you don't have it or have never had it, you should definitely give it a try. Okay, now that we have finished folding in all of the ingredients, I just remembered I almost forgot to add my fruit here. So this is the point at the very end where you're going to add any extra ingredients that you'd like to your mix. So I am actually going to put in some blueberries. I would assume about half a cup I think is going in here, but I'm just going to dump them in. You could also of course add raspberries, strawberries, chopped apple, chocolate chips, or cacao nibs. But it's quarantine, use whatever you've got in your house, and if that's nothing and there's like no fruit in here, I mean, like, that's a little sad, I'm not gonna lie, but it's okay, no judgment. So now that everything is all mixed in, we're gonna let those chemical reactions happen between the apple cider vinegar and the baking powder, as well as allowing our chia seeds and our flax seeds to become gelatinous and kind of suck up some of that moisture. I usually let it set for around 5, maybe 10 minutes while I do a bit of a tidy up and then get my toppings ready. So when I have pancakes, I like to go like all out with toppings. It's one of my favorite parts of having pancakes. I just wanted to go over perhaps some inspiration. Some common toppings that I enjoy that are both healthy and delicious are sliced almonds, chopped pecans, unsweetened coconut shreds, cacao nibs, and of course fruit, including banana that I'm going to slice up and put on top. So I could have put the banana inside, but I only have like 2 bananas left, and I really like fresh banana on top rather than like cooked banana. And I always have frozen berries, so I'm going to melt the raspberries and then kind of put it onto like a faux sauce. You can add some vanilla extract and maple syrup to the raspberries, and it tastes really nice on top. But instead, I'm just going to lather these pancakes with some lovely Canadian maple syrup. This maple syrup is from Manitoulin Island, specifically Mindamoya Grade A Amber maple syrup. I need some new maple syrup. I'm really sad that this is all I have left, and it is syrup season, so I'm looking forward to getting a new big bottle. So I have to turn my fan on for the next part because my cast iron skillet is quite loved and does create some smoke. So I'm going to explain this now. Now that my batter is pretty much as thick as it's going to get, I am going to add my earth balance to the pan and just like, first of all, enjoy that sizzle. So satisfying. And then scoop in your pancakes to the pan and put the lid on, and you'll know the pancakes are ready once they kind of start to cook through a little bit on the other side. So they'll start to bubble around the edges just like normal pancakes. So then of course flip, put the lid back on top for another couple minutes. Now this recipe makes 6 pancakes. I use 3 for today and 3 for tomorrow that I reheat in the toaster oven for a delicious breakfast 2 days in a row, because I like to enjoy a full weekend of pancakes. Once your pancakes are done, you get to top them to your like and enjoy with some tea. Today's tea shout out is going to be the Tea Store, which I am using their Ontario breakfast tea in my cute little Manitoulin Island mug, keeping this a very local recipe. I wish I had local blueberries, but it's not the season yet. The Tea Store is located in Ottawa. You should totally go check them out. Their Instagram is linked below. Okay, I finally get to have breakfast. Yay! Oh yeah, gotta get a little bit of everything in there. A little almond butter. Okay, the almond butter is just like sticking to the roof of my mouth. I steeped the tea just right. Way to go, Maddie. Because of the pumpkin seeds and the sliced almonds, there's a lot of like crunchiness going on for me, but like if that's not the textures that you enjoy, of course there's a million other things you can do. The basic recipe stays the same. Pretty darn healthy aside from the mountain of maple syrup I put on top of here. Does this count as a cross section? In the winter, when it's not like too bad for me to have the stove on, because it gets really hot in this apartment in the summer, even when I just have the stovetop on for a long time. I make these pretty much every weekend, and they're my favorite, and I hope they become a favorite of yours as well. They have all the same stuff as like my oatmeal has in the mornings. Maybe like a little bit more flour, a little bit less oats, but honestly, these are really good. I hope you guys give them a try. If you decide you want to have a healthy morning and post these on Instagram, please remember to tag me at Here for Cats and Food. And I'll see you guys next time with another delicious recipe. Bye!